Hey guys, first regardsman here, and I'll be talking about a Melta Rifle Vanguard build for patch 11.2 of Space Marine 2 for newer players to have a comparatively easier time with absolute operations and hard stratagems. Now, the Melta Rifle is still an amazing pick for newer players, mainly because this weapon has incredible stagger and incredible contested health recovery, and really doesn't require too much from the player. Now, the variant I chose today is the range variant. This one is really good for catching things like Terminators and stuff like that, and the ammo economy on this weapon is actually pretty decent thanks to the perk down here, Decisive Reload. Performing a finisher on a Majora's level or higher enemy with this weapon restores ammo by 1. This is one of the best ammo economy perks in the entire game, and really good synergy with the Vanguard class because the Vanguard really has a pretty bad ammo economy, so this one helps them out a ton. Now, next perk here is Rapid Health. When your health is below 30%, killing 7 enemies in a rapid session restores your health by 10%. This perk is really nice to have and very easy to trigger on a Melta Rifle because things like Cultists and Spore Mines do count for this, and you pretty much always one-shot them, so great stuff here. Next perk here is Trick Shot. Killing 5 enemies with 1 shot restores an armor segment. The cooldown is 30 seconds, and now any amount of armor remaining in Space Marine 2 will stop all incoming melee damage no matter what, even from bosses, so really good option here. And honestly, having a 30-second cooldown may seem like a super long time, but it's not too bad on this, and Drip Fed Armor Restore comes out to a ton of free damage reduction, so great perk. Next perk here is Great Might, moving here into the perk Divine Might for no damage increase. Then we pick up the perk here, Extended Magazine, which is pretty nice because like one more shot takes us from magazine capacity of 5 to 6. And the next perk here is First Shot, and then we go down here into Retaliation. After perfect time dodge, you will deal 25% more damage for 10 seconds. And the final perk is Perpetual Fire. Fire rate increases by 10%, so a really good option here as well. That's pretty much all there is for the Melta Rifle. Now for our secondary here, I do once again take the Heroic Heavy Bolt Pistol, mainly because this gun has the highest gun strike damage in the entire game currently. Though, really, the Vanguard can take whatever secondary he wants because he has the benefit of a primary gun, which means he doesn't need to rely on his secondary for CHP recovery, which is a pretty nice benefit of playing this class. But I do take this one just because I prefer the gun strike damage, and the heroic perk effect here is called No Help is Coming. Shooting enemy with the lead stream status effect stops it from calling for reinforcements, and headshots will kill in 1 shot. Now, unfortunately, this perk is currently broken in 11.2 Space Marine 2. Body shots will do nothing to stop reinforcement calls, but headshots will still kill in 1 shot, so pretty good either way. Now, for the perk tree on this, I do take Divine Might first, moving here into the perk Perpetual Penetration, all the way down to perks like Death Strike. After killing a Majora's level or higher enemy in melee combat, you will deal 25% more damage for 10 seconds. This perk is actually really nice. All you have to do to actually trigger this is just do like a finisher. You don't have to do an actual melee kill at all, so pretty good here and way better than it sounds initially. Next perk here is Great Might, moving here into the perk Strong Start. Then I pick up the perk Able Damage. After using a class ability, damage increases by 20% for 10 seconds. This perk is really nice on Vanguard because Vanguard has a grapnel that recharges all the damn time, so you will be using this perk quite often, especially with things like a tactical prowess build and stuff like that, even though we're not using that here today, but you will trigger this more than say like a Bulwark does because your ability simply allows for it. Next perk here is Home Precision, up here into the perk Gunstrike Reload, and the final perk I grab is, of course, Tactical Precision. Headshots will deal 20% more damage, non-headshot damage decreases by 10%. 20% more damage on your headshots is just way more important than losing non-headshot damage. Headshots are pretty much all that matter in this game on bolt weapons anyways, so pretty much always pick this up, and that's pretty much all there is. The secondary option here. Now for the melee weapon, I did take a Fencing Power Axe this time, and mainly because the Power Axe is a perk over here, Power Strike. A Gun Strike from Power Stance deals 20% more damage. I am using the Heroic Heavy Bolt Pistol after all, so extra Gun Strike damage is pretty nice to have. But for the rest of the perk tree here, I do pick up the perk Perpetual Strength first for a melee damage increase of 5%. Moving here to the perk Coup de Grace. The last strike of a light combo deals 25% more damage. Picking up the perk here, Perpetual Strength, and Perpetual Strength again for a 10% melee damage increase. Now, the reason I'm skipping over the top tree here is because Perpetual Speed does like basically nothing, even with like an 8 speed base. And next perk here, Confident Stance. It's not terrible, just not super good, because we already have the perk here, Upper Hand, for no knockback. Now, for the rest of the perk tree, I take the perk Patient Stance. While in Power Stance, you do not lose contested health. This perk is super nice because basically you just don't lose your CHP during a parry. And next perk here is for your gun strike damage, like I talked about before. We can actually trigger this and a power wave simultaneously if you time it perfectly. But the big thing about this perk is that you have to wait a second to actually shoot your gun strike, or you will not get the damage buff, so just keep that in mind. Next perk here is Power Wave. Power Backstep Wave damages more enemies. Then we move down here into the perk Tactical Retreat. Power Backstep, it deals 25% more damage. This is just pretty nice to have, even though our Power Wave damage isn't like super good in the fencing version. It's not like completely pointless, so pretty nice regardless. And the perk up here, Power Wave, this one changes the angle of your Power Wave to actually hit more enemies, including flying enemies like Zoanthrope, so pretty nice there. And the final perks are Minora Slayer and Restoration, because getting extra armor back on your melee weapon in this game is pretty nice to have, and this is like one of the only armor regen sources in the entire game. It's like this convenient, built into a melee weapon, so pretty good for that. Now for the Vanguard perk tree here, I do take Upper Hand first. After a perfect time parry, block, or dodge, you will not lose control from heavy hits and cannot be knocked back for 10 seconds. This perk will just save your life. You know, no knockback effects in Space Marine 2 will just make it so you do not get stun locked in areas you would otherwise be knocked out and instantaneously die, so pretty good for that reason alone. So pretty much always pick this up for like an easy build. Next perk here is Conviction. When your armor is fully depleted, you'll take 25% less health damage for 10 seconds. This perk's damage reduction is substantial. This will make you significantly more tanky, so great option here, especially when you pair it over here with the perk Thrill of the Fight. It gives you a further 20% health damage reduction for 5 seconds on a parry, block, or dodge. And really, we're just going for like the easiest to run build possible here, so this one will help a ton with that. Next perk here is Consecutive Execution. Killing 7 enemies in rapid succession restores equipment charged by 1. The cooldown is 90 seconds. Now, a 90-second Melt-A-Bomb, Crack Grenade, Shock Grenade, or even Frag will just save your life sometimes. Equipment will save games. Knocking out an Extremis instantaneously in a boss fight will simply make the entire fight easier for everyone, including you. So really nice to have this on a 90-second cooldown, and 7 enemies in rapid succession is really easy to pull off in this game, especially with our Melta Rifle, so great synergy there. Next perk here is Unmatched Zeal. Melee finishers of Extremis or Terminus level enemies additionally restore health by 30% for any team member. This perk is a global heal that requires 0 interaction from you or your teammates besides just finishing the enemy, which happens all the time anyways, so really good for like any build in this game, but especially for an easy to run build. Next perk here is Shockwave. Diving Kick additionally deals damage in a 5-meter radius. Moving here into the perk Tenacity. After a range kill of a Majora's level or higher enemy, Diving Kick's damage increases by 130%. The cooldown is 15 seconds. The reason I'm not taking the perk combo up here with Zone of Impact and Tactical Prowess is because this one is just way easier to pull off for like most players. You don't have to worry about like executes or anything like that. So we're going for like an easy to run build here, and this is really good for that option. Next perk here is Thrill of the Fight once again, because 20% less health damage for 5 seconds on a perfect time parry, block, or dodge is just incredible in this game. Really easy to pull off, especially with things like home reactions if you decide to take this perk, and overall 20% health damage reduction is just really good in Space Marine 2. Now, the final perk I take is Adrenaline Rush. Melee kills a Majora's level or higher enemy, restores health by 5%. This perk is really damn good. It used to be 10%, it is now 5%, but you know, we can stack this perk with the perk over here for a 35% health restore on a melee finisher of an Extremis or Terminus level enemy, and that's just really nice for you. And honestly, versus Chaos, this perk is still very good, because fighting Chaos is usually like a fight against chip damage and stuff like that, and overall, this is just an easy to run perk, though I do think Tactical Prowess and Zone of Impact is a better combo overall. We're going for like ease of use, and this one's by far the easiest. Now, for the prestige perks here, I do take Battlefield Awareness first. If it targets than 8 meters, you'll deal 10% more range damage. Moving here into the perk Fortitude, health increases by 15%. You know, HP increases in Space Marine 2 just make your whole life easier because they prevent you from getting one-shot, so a really good option here as well. And the final 2 perks are Launch Restoration and Restoration, because getting armor back on a grapnel launcher is incredible because grapnels happen all the time. And Restoration is just another source of drip-fed armor restore, which is good for all the reasons I stated before. That's pretty much all there is for this build, guys. And this really is one of the easiest builds on the Vanguard in the entire game, and to be honest, one of the easiest builds in Space Marine 2, period. And hopefully this helped you if you are new. I know a lot of new players are here after Christmas, and hopefully a build like this will help you out a bit, even if you don't have things like the Heroic Bolt Pistol. Hey guys, first regardsman here, and I'll be talking about a Heroic Instigator Bolt Carbine build using the Tip of the Spear perk in patch 11.0 of Space Marine 2. Now, the Heroic Instigator Bolt Carbine is by far the best Instigator Bolt Carbine in the entire game. It has not only the best per shot damage, but also the best DPS overall, thanks to things like the higher rate burst. This one fires in 5-round bursts rather than the 3-round bursts of the other versions, and to be honest, these ones just need a that buff, because they are not remotely close to this one at the moment, in my opinion, and hopefully Saber will give them that one day, but for now, just use a heroic if you've got it. Now, for the perk tree, I do take the extended magazine perk first, moving here into the perk reload restoration. After reloading, your ammo reserve is restored by 50% of the number of enemies hit, cannot exceed maximum ammo capacity. Now, the Vanguard has a pretty shit ammo economy, so having this perk does help a lot, though if you want higher damage, you can go up here for Headhunter and the perk here Efficient Hunter if you want. Next perk here is Divine Might for a flat 10% damage increase, moving up here into the perk Fast Reload. Next perk over here is Increased Capacity for even better ammo reserves, then I move here into the perk Great Might, up into the perk Recoupment. Killing a Majora's level or higher enemy with a headshot of this weapon restores an armor segment. The cooldown is 15 seconds. This perk is incredible on pretty much every single bolt weapon in the game. Having armor on a drip feed like this will just save your life at times, because any amount of armor remaining in Space Marine 2 will reduce all incoming melee damage even from a boss to 0, so really nice to have this on a 15-second cooldown. Also really good for avoiding chip damage versus ranged enemies. Next perk here is Tactical Precision. Headshots deal 20% more damage, and non-headshot damage decreases by 10%. Having headshot damage in Space Marine 2 simply matters way more than losing body shot damage. Pretty much always pick this up, because on all the bolt weapons in this game, you're pretty much always going for headshots. It's unfortunately true at Space Marine 2. It's just not a body shot game at all, and headshots do way more damage, so grab this one pretty much all the time. Next perk here is Headhunter, and the final perk is, of course, Rapid Health. When your health is below 30%, killing 7 enemies in rapid succession restores your health by 10%. This perk is pretty nice to have, really easy to trigger on an Instigator Bolt Carbine like this, because you do have those 5-round bursts, on top of the fact that if you do decide to skip over things like Adrenaline Rush or the Unmatched Heal perk here, you can kind of just take that perk as your only source of healing, and you can build damage reduction like Thrill of the Fight or Conviction if you want. But, that is up to you. It does give you more options, and having like some healing attached to your weapon does help out quite a bit. That's pretty much all I have to say about the Instigator Bolt Carbine. Now, for the secondary here, we do once again take the Retribution's Bequest Heroic Heavy Bolt Pistol. This weapon has the highest overall gun strike damage in the entire game, and a really good heroic perk effect. With the heroic perk, no help is coming. Shooting enemy with the least scream status effect stops you from calling for reinforcements, and headshots will kill in one shot. Now, despite this one only having a magazine capacity of 6 and ammo reserve of 48, this doesn't matter too much, because in the hard stratagems and absolute difficulty, whenever you interrupt a reinforcement calling enemy, they will go in rage. So if you get a headshot kill on those, you're stopping yourself from dealing with an enraged enemy on top of a horde, so you're actually saving a lot of ammo. Now, unfortunately, this perk is also broken in patch 11.2 to not function at all on body shots. Hopefully they fix that when Tech Marine comes out, but for now, keep that in mind, though it is still worth using, because headshots killing in one shot is just a really powerful effect. Now, for the perk tree on this, we go down the bottom row, because the bottom row just has way better perks overall for damage. Things like Death Strike here, after killing Majora's level or higher enemy in melee combat, you will deal 25% more damage for 10 seconds. This is a great effect, though keep in mind you have to have your weapon equipped to actually trigger this. If you swap off your secondary for any reason while the effect is active, you will lose the bonus, which does kind of suck, but I just want to mention that. Also, you can trigger this kill off a finisher on just a melee kill, and a 25% damage buff for 10 seconds is a pretty chunky increase for a pretty long uptime, so great option. Next perk here is Great Might, moving here into the perk Strong Start, which does a 25% damage bonus on the first round of our magazine. Then we go into the next perk here, Able Damage. After you use a class ability, damage increases by 20% for 10 seconds. Now, on Vanguard, you use your grapnel all the damn time, especially with combat readiness and inner fire, so this perk effect is on pretty much all the damn time. A really good perk option for classes that cycle their abilities all the time, though I will say on stuff like Bulwark, it's not super good, but pretty great here. Next perk here is Home Precision, moving up here into the perk Gunstrike Reload, into the final perk once again for Tactical Precision for the reasons I mentioned previously. Now for the melee weapon, I take a Fencing Chainsword this time, mainly because having a 9 speed with the perk here, Swift Recovery, which gives you double CHP back on heavy attacks, is really damn strong on the Vanguard, because Vanguard has a base starting perk of a 50% higher contested health regeneration on melee hits. This only counts for melee hits if you're unaware, but like this combined with our perk here, this makes us get so much damn CHP back off a Chainsword heavy attack that it's super fun to use. And also, I want to take a Blood Angel's Chainsword this time from the champion pack. Now, for the other perks here, I take Perpetual Strength, moving here to Perpetual Strength and Perpetual Strength again for a 10% melee damage increase. Then I pick up the perk here, Reverberating Impact. Stomp area effect radius increases by 50%. This perk is just amazing. To be honest, the one down here that increases your light combo from 4 to 5 strikes, even on a fencing one, this is still not worth taking. There are very few cases you'll actually ever want to do 5 strikes over like a stomp or a punch and stuff like that. So just take this perk in my opinion. And the next perk here is Combined Onslaught for more light combo damage. Moving down to the perk Heavy Onslaught for more heavy attack damage. Then we pick up Full Throttle for the combo skip, the perk Minora's Slayer, and of course Extremis Slayer. Though I will say, if you want to skip over these two, you can go up here for Majora's Slayer, but that is up to you. And that's pretty much all there is for the perk tree here. Now for the class perk tree, we once again take Upper Hand first. After your perfect time parry, block, or dodge, you do not lose control from the hits, and you cannot be knocked back for 10 seconds. This perk will just save your life. This is by far the best perk in this column, in my opinion, because no knockback is just the best way to avoid stun locks in this game. It's not a catch-all, because the way no knockback works in Space Marine 2 is that any attack that would knock you over will only stagger you instead, and then all staggers get put down to nothing, so it is pretty damn strong, just not as strong as the description might imply. Next perk here is Conviction. When your armor is fully depleted, you will take 25% less health damage for 10 seconds. This perk is incredible. A 25% health damage reduction for 10 seconds on armor break will just give you so much free damage reduction. It is top tier. Pretty much always grab this because the perk here, Close Combat Focus, is a 20% less range damage reduction. This is not bad, it's just this perk is way better. It's a catch-all for all damage types. Now, the perk up here, Duelist, is also not that good because this actually teaches you bad habits when it comes to parrying in this game. And to be honest, once you learn to parry in Space Marine 2, this is not really necessary at all. Next perk here is Consecutive Execution. Killing 7 enemies in rapid succession restores equipment charged by 1. The cooldown is 90 seconds. Now, 90-second Melta Bombs, Crack Grenades, Shock Grenades, and even Frag Grenades will also save your life. A 90-second Melta Bomb is one of the most broken things this whole game. All equipment recharge in Space Marine 2 kind of breaks the pickup economy of the game, and being able to solve an Extremis encounter all on its own is just a top-tier effect. So pretty much always pick this up for a top tier build, especially in Siege mode. Next perk here is Inner Fire. All team members can restore ability charged by 15% by performing finishers on Majora's level or higher enemies. This perk actually got nerfed a little bit. It used to function on any Majora's or higher kill whatsoever, but now it only functions on executes, including gun strikes. Still a very powerful perk effect. A 15% CDR bonus for things like Bulwark is really strong for your team, and also stuff like Auspex, so a really good perk effect, just not quite as good as it was before. Next perk here is Collateral Damage. Diving Kick deals 50% more damage and additionally damages enemies on the way to the grapnel launcher's target. The main reason I take this perk is because it allows us to one combo a Tyranid Warrior off a single Diving Kick with a burst of our Heroic Instigator. Really nice synergy there, so I would like to pick this one up for that reason. Next perk here is Tip of the Spear. Enemies hit by Diving Kick take 15% more range damage for 10 seconds. This is just a nice little perk damage bonus here for our range attacks. Now, it does have a great synergy here with the prestige perk Battlefield Awareness, because basically you will use your Diving Kick, get within 8 meters of the enemy, and now you have a 25% range damage buff, so really good synergy there. Now, the final perk here in the gear tree is Combat Readiness. Grapnel Launcher recharges 20% faster. This is nice to trigger perk effects more often, like Launch Restoration, stuff like that, or more Diving Kicks in general for collateral damage. Though if you want to have more damage reduction, you could pick up Thrill of the Fight, because this perk is quite good as well. Now, the final perk is, of course, the signature perk Adrenaline Rush. Melee kills of Majora's level or higher enemies restore health by 5%. I know a lot of players in Space Marine 2 like to have some kind of healing effect on their actual perk tree for Vanguard. This will actually help you do that quite easily. So a really great effect here and really strong in general. It really ups your margin for error. Now, as far as the prestige perk list goes, I do take Battlefield Awareness, like I mentioned before, into the perk here Fortitude for health increase of 15%. Health increases in Space Marine 2 will just save your life, so pretty much always pick them up whenever you can. And the final two perks are Launch Restoration and Restoration for a catch-all on Armor Restore, and that's pretty much all there is for this build, guys. The Heroic Instigator Bolt Carbine is a great weapon, one of my favorite weapons in the entire game for a close quarters build in general, and hopefully this helped you out. And if you like content like this, subscribe for more, and as always, thank you for watching, and a special thank you to all my channel members. You guys help me out a tremendous amount, and I really appreciate it. Take it easy, guys. Bye. Hey guys, first Regardsman here, and I'll be talking about a Power Axe Tactical Prowess Zone of Impact build for the Vanguard class in patch 11.2 of Space Marine 2. Now, I do think this combo is still the best in the game for Vanguard. The AOE damage that Impact puts out is just tremendous. Now, Tenacity was really powerful in the PTS server because there was an interaction with the perk over here, Shockwave, that would give you like double damage off the 130% damage trigger of this perk. Unfortunately, that is no longer the case, so I think that Zone of Impact is just superior. But, you know, that being said, our weapon selection here is the Instigator Bolt Carbine Heroic version up first. This might be my favorite heroic weapon in the entire game currently. The amount of close range damage this thing does is tremendous on top of the medium range damage. And for the perk tree here, I do start off with extended magazine, moving here into the perk Reloaded Restoration. After reloading, your ammo reserve is restored by 50% of the number of enemies hit, cannot exceed maximum ammo capacity. This perk is very strong on the Vanguard class. Having this will help out your ammo economy a ton. Vanguard's ammo economy is not like the worst thing ever, but it's definitely not very strong, so having this will help you out. Next perk here is Divine Might. Damage increases by 10%, moving up here into the perk Fast Reload. Then I pick up the perk here, Increase Capacity. The maximum ammo reserve of this weapon increases by 20%, moving here into the perk Great Might, up into the perk Recoupment. Killing a majority level or higher enemy with a headshot, this weapon restores 1 armor segment. The cooldown is 15 seconds. Now, in operations and hard stratagems, getting this armor back on like a single headshot kill is really nice for avoiding chip damage and stuff like that. So, a really good perk, and this is also found on like pretty much every bolt weapon in the entire game. Next perk here is Tactical Precision. Headshots deal 20% more damage. Non-headshot damage decreases by 10%. Headshots are all that matters over body shots in the game, so pretty much always pick this perk up. The next perk here is Headhunter. Headshots deal 10% more damage. And the final perk is Rapid Health. When your health is below 30%, killing 7 enemies in rapid succession restores your health by 10%. Now, this perk is really nice to have, especially on classes like Sniper. We don't really have healing outside of this. Now, Vanguard does have access to things like Adrenaline Rush and the perk here on Mazil, so getting healing on him isn't too hard, but you know, overall, this perk is still pretty powerful. Now, some people may wonder why we don't build all the way down to perks like Inspired Aim or the perk here Death Strike. These perks are good, they're just not worth building into on this weapon perk tree because of the way the weapon perk tree is set up. You have to give up so many nodes to actually reach these, and their damage effects are conditional, and they barely give you a damage buff over just building like in the top tree here with Headhunter and Efficient Hunter anyways, so I pretty much always skip these. Now, for the secondary weapon, I do take the Retribution's Bequest Heavy Bolt Pistol Heroic version. This has the highest gun strike damage in the entire game. It's a ton of fun to use, and the heroic perk effect here is called No Help Is Coming. Shooting an enemy with the Elite Scream status effect stops from reinforcements, and headshots kill in one shot. Now, currently this perk is bugged. Body shots will not stop reinforcement calls at all, only headshots will kill in one shot, which is pretty nice. Just kind of funny they broke this weapon again. But for the perk tree here, I just go all the way down the bottom row because able damage is really nice on the Vanguard class in particular because you use your grapnel all the time, so having this helps out quite a bit. Let's move up here into the perk Tactical Precision for more headshot damage, and the bottom row, this gives you the most damage of things like Death Strike and stuff like that, so that's pretty much all there is for the build here. And for our melee weapon selection, we do take the Block Power Axe. This weapon does a tremendous amount of damage. Power Wave is a super powerful ability. We pretty much build for all melee perks here. Things like Perpetual Strength into the perk here Coup de Grace, into the perk here Perpetual Strength, and Perpetual Strength once again for another flat melee damage increase of 10%. Then I grab the perk here Counterattack. The first light attack in 5 seconds after a perfect parry or perfect block deals 25% more damage. Moving down to the perk Riposte, overhead strike damage after performing a power backstep is doubled. Now, this damage is quite powerful. Overhead Strike does a ton of damage in this game on the Power Axe currently, and Riposte is really nice on Assault, Vanguard, and the Bulwark class, so a really good perk option here. And the final perks I grab are Hard Target into the perk Tactical Retreat. Power Backstep Wave deals 25% more damage. Up here into the perk Power Wave. The Power Backstep Wave damages more enemies. This actually changes the angle of your Power Wave to hit more enemies, so really useful. It's pretty much the equivalent of the Xenophase Blade perk with Ancient Technology, if you go over here and show that. This one will just up the angle of your Power Rake instead, so it's like pretty much the same angle change. Really good for hitting things like Zoanthropes and stuff like that, though obviously that's harder on a Power Axe. And the final perk I grab here is Cleaver for a 10% melee damage increase against Majora's level and higher enemies, which is pretty much a catch-all, and that's pretty much all there is for the Power Axe setup here. Now for the perk tree, I do start off with the perk here. Now for our perk tree, I start off with Upper Hand. After perk time parry, block, or dodge, you don't lose your hits, can't be knocked back for 10 seconds. This perk just gives you no knockback, and no knockback will save your lives, so always grab it. Next perk here is Conviction for damage reduction on armor break. Moving here into the perk Consecutive Execution. Killing 7 enemies in rapid succession restores your equipment charge by 1. The cooldown is 90 seconds. 90-second Melta Bombs, Crack Grenades, Shock Grenades, even frags are just amazing in Space Marine 2. Now, a Melta Bomb can solve an encounter all on its own, so I pretty much always grab this one as well for like a quote-unquote meta setup. The next perk I grab here is Inner Fire. All of your team members can restore ability charge by 15% by performing finishers on Majora's level or higher enemies. Now, in patch 11.2, They did kind of like nerf this one a bit, where it no longer triggers on standard melee kills. You have to do a finisher like Gunstrike or otherwise, which is kind of unfortunate. So if you want to pick up the healing perk here instead, you definitely can. That is up to you. Next perk here is Restless Fortitude. After a diving kick, you take 40% less range damage for 10 seconds. Now, in patch 11, they did fix this perk to properly trigger off a Tactical Prowess Execute. Previously, if you got an Execute off of this perk, and you had this perk on like your gear perk tree, you would not get the effect. Now you will, so that's pretty nice. The next perk here is Zone of Impact. Performing a finisher with the grapple launcher deals damage to nearby enemies. The AoE damage from this perk is incredible, and when you combine this with the perk over here, Tactical Prowess, for executing enemies on a grapple launcher finish with 33% or less HP, you will just flowchart into an entire horde, and it's really easy to do a stupid amount of damage. Like, once it properly pops off, you'll just wipe out like any Majora's or Extremis in your way and like take basically no damage. So a really good combo here, which is why people have been using this for months. Next perk here is Combat Readiness. Grapnel Launcher recharges 20% faster. This perk is just nice to have. I mean, getting your grapnels back faster is really, really good in this game. Though if you want to take Thrill of the Fight, this 20% health damage reduction for parry, block, or dodge for 5 seconds is also very strong. You know, that is also up to you. And the final perk here is, of course, Tactical Prowess for executing enemies at 33% or below HP with a grapnel launcher finisher. This is mandatory. Always pick this up with Zone of Impact, because otherwise you're getting like way less benefit out of this perk. And that's pretty much all there is for the main perk tree. Now for the prestige perk selection, I do take Battlefield Awareness first. Into the perk here, Fortitude, for a health increase of 15%. And then I grab Launch Restoration and Restoration for bonus armor restore, because Launch Restoration, especially with Tactical Prowess, this will give you 2 armor off a grapnel execute, so really nice to have. And Restoration is just, you know, a very good perk in general. That's pretty much all there is for this build, guys. Hopefully this build guide helped you. The Zone of Impact and Tactical Prowess are a pretty classic combo on this class ever since they buffed up these perks. That's pretty much all I have to say in this one. Hey guys, first Regardsman here, so I'll be talking about an automatic Bolt Carbine build for the Vanguard class in patch 11.2 of Space Marine 2. Now, the Bolt Carbine is one of the best close-range weapons in this game currently, and the variant I've chosen today is the Ammo Reserve Magazine Capacity version, because despite having a 2 accuracy on this version, we do have the perk over here, Home Precision. The equipped weapon's maximum spread decreases by 50% when firing without aiming. This perk turns your gun into a laser beam on the hip fire. You pretty much never have to aim down the sights as long as you have this active. Really good option, and pretty much always pick this up on like any Bolt Carbine version, but on this one especially, it just honestly fixes your accuracy entirely. Now the other perks I take here are Headhunter into the perk Rapid Health, because we have to pick these up to go into this one anyways, and this one says when your health is below 30%, killing 7 enemies and Rapid Session restores your health by 10%. Now this is a pretty easy perk to trigger, especially versus Cultists and Spore Mines, though it may be a little bit redundant if you take the other healing options here like Adrenaline Rush or of course Unmatched Zeal, but that's up to you. Now, the perk I take after all of these is, of course, Divine Might for a 10% damage increase. Then I pick up Headhunter and Headhunter again for a 20% headshot damage increase. Then I move down here into Extended Magazine, Divine Might, Increased Capacity, Magazine Restoration, Adamantine Grip, and Divine Might again. Now, you do have a couple options here. You could go down these 4 perk rows like I did, or you could go up here and pick up Cleaving Fire into Adamant Hunter, Perpetual Precision, and Recoupment. This is overall safer with like higher conditional damage if you do trigger Adamant Hunter, but this one will give you a better ammo economy and better base damage. That is up to you. Now for the secondary option, I do take Retribution's Bequest, the Heroic Heavy Bolt Pistol. This weapon is amazing currently. The heroic perk effect here is called No Help Is Coming. Shooting an enemy with the Elite Scream stats effect stops from calling for reinforcements, and headshots will kill in 1 shot. Now, despite having a magazine capacity of 6 and an ammo reserve of 48, this really does not matter too much for your build on a Vanguard, because you have a primary weapon, and on top of that, on absolute difficulty and hard stratagems, whenever you stop a reinforcement call, the enemy will go in rage, so being able to one-shot them on this perk is actually really good for saving you ammo on top of the horde. So a really good perk effect, even though part of it is bugged that body shots don't do anything, but the headshot kills are still worth it. Now for the perk tree on this, I just go down the bottom row as usual, because the bottom row just gives you way more damage overall than the top row does, and to be honest, like Rapid Health on a Heroic Heavy Bolt Pistol is pretty trash, and we already have that on our primary anyways. And the perk here, Death Strike, after killing a Majora's Silver higher enemy in melee combat, you'll deal 25% more damage for 10 seconds. This one is incredible. You can also trigger it off a finisher, not just a melee kill, so keep that in mind. And a 25% damage buff for 10 seconds is a pretty good damage buff for a pretty long uptime. Now, the next perk here I want to talk about is Able Damage. After you use a class ability, damage increases by 20% for 10 seconds. This perk is really good on Vanguard, the Tactical even, or excuse me, it's good on Vanguard, Assault, and the Sniper class because basically you just spam your grapnel on this class all the damn time. So really easy to trigger this 20% buff over and over and over. Next perk here is Home Precision, up here into the perk Gunstrike Reload, and then I pick up the perk here, Tactical Precision. Headshots will deal 20% more damage, non-headshot damage decreases by 10%. This perk is pretty much a must-have on like every bolt weapon ever that's on, because headshot damage just matters way more than body shot damage does in this game, unfortunately, or or fortunately, depending who you ask. But the big thing about this is that a 20% damage increase is just super worth it, so pretty much always pick this up. That's pretty much all there is for the secondary. Now for the melee weapon, I do take the Power Gladius Heroic Combat Knife. This is the most damaging knife in the game currently, and really damn fun to use. It has a great synergy here with the Heroic perk effect Agile Strike on our build. This one says, after a perfect dodge, the next melee attack deals 120% more damage, and can be stacked up to 3 times, but there's actually a hidden effect here, it's not in the description, that means that this weapon will retain a 360% potential damage bonus for 1 second after the initial attack, so better than it sounds initially. And on a Vanguard, we can build into the perk here Hone Reactions to double our perfect dodge window or below 50% HP, which is actually the highest perfect dodge window in the entire game. A really powerful option and really fun to use with the Power Gladius, which is why I pick it up on this build. And for the perk tree, I was going to Perpetual Strength first, moving here into the perk Kinetic Energy, then I pick up Perpetual Strength and Perpetual Strength again just to maximize our damage. Then I grab the perk here Heavy Onslaught. Heavy attacks with this weapon deal 15% more melee damage. This perk will improve the damage of your shadow stat, not just your normal heavy attacks. And next perk here is Ruling Blow, up here into Tide of Battle, and then you have the choice of going to Extremis Slayer or Terminus Slayer. Now on Vanguard, I primarily use this as like an Extremis Slayer, so I don't go to Terminus Slayer, but if you want to pick this one out for boss damage, you definitely can. But both of these are great options. That's pretty much all there is for the melee weapon. Now for the Vanguard perk tree, we do start off with the perk Upper Hand. After a perfect time parry, block, or dodge, you do not lose control from heavy hits, and you cannot be knocked back for 10 seconds. This perk will save your life. The way that no knockback works in Space Marine 2 is that any attack that would knock you over will only stagger you. Any attack that would stagger you will do nothing instead. So a really powerful option to keep you alive, and by far the best in this column. Next perk here is Conviction. When your armor is fully depleted, you will take 25% less health damage for 10 seconds. This perk is incredible. A 25% health damage reduction for 10 seconds on armor break that happens all the time is good on its own. With all the drip-fed armor restore we have on this class, it's even better. So definitely pick this one up. It's one of the best perks in the entire game. Next perk here is Hone Reactions. When your health is less than 50%, your perfect dodge window is doubled. Now, consecutive execution is better overall in my opinion, just because 90-second Melta Bombs are kind of OP in Space Marine 2, and really any equipment regen is. But this perk will have amazing synergy with the Power Gladius, and that's why I pick it up here. It's also just a lot of fun to use. Next perk here is Inner Fire. All team members can restore ability charge by 15% by performing finishers on Majoris level or higher enemies. Now, this perk is really nice to have for things like Bulwark banners and stuff like that. Now, it will also work on melee finishers and gun strikes, but it used to work on any kill whatsoever. It no longer does that anymore. They did nerf this perk, unfortunately. So if you want to pick up the healing perk here instead, you definitely can. I just took this one today. And one more reason I take this perk over the other options here for healing is that Home Reactions is honestly really good to have active all the time. So being below 50% HP when you have this perk here with Conviction, and the perk we'll get into later with Thrill of the Fight, you're actually pretty damn tanky, and healing over this amount can actually be a negative for you for your perfect dodges, which is why I like to pick this one up instead. Next perk here is Restless Fortitude. After a diving kick, you will take 40% less range damage for 10 seconds. This perk is incredible, and even better now in patch 11.0, because you can actually trigger this perk simultaneously with a Grapnel Execute. Previously, Grapnel Executes would not count for this perk at all, but now they do, so a really good synergy for our combo here. And the next perk here is, of course, Zone of Impact. Performing a finisher with the Grapnel Launcher deals damage to nearby enemies. This perk is incredible, by far one of the best perks this class has, period. It will deal a tremendous amount of damage, and really carries this class's overall AOE capabilities, so really good option, really good for damage nuking, and really, really efficient. Next perk here is Thrill of the Fight. After a perfect time parry, block, or dodge, you will take 20% less health damage for 5 seconds. This perk is really nice to have. A 20% health damage reduction for 5 seconds is quite substantial, and this will stack with the perk over here, Conviction, for a 45% health damage reduction. It also has great synergy with the perk here, Home Reaction. So pretty good there, though I will say if you want to take combat readiness instead for having your grapple launcher come back 20% faster, you can also do that. That is up to you. This is also a very good perk. Final perk here is Tactical Prowess. A grapple launcher can activate a finisher not only on incapacitated enemies, but also on those who have less than 33% health, except for Terminus level, and performing a finisher with the grapple launcher restores its charge. This perk, on top of the perk Zone of Impact, just allows you to basically flowchart, endlessly loop into an entire enemy horde with the proper AoE damage. Really good synergy. It always pick these two together because they just have the best combo. Though if you want to take Adrenaline Rush, you definitely could, but I would probably build into Tenacity and like Shockwave, or maybe like keep Restless Fortitude if you really want to. That is up to you as well. That's pretty much all there is for the main perk tree. Now for our Prestige perk list, we just take Battlefield Awareness first. If a target is within 8 meters, you'll deal 10% more range damage. This is just a free range damage buff 90% of the time because this class goes in within 8 meters pretty much 24/7. So a really good option. Next perk here is Fortitude for a health increase of 15%. Then I pick up the perk Launch Restoration. Using the grapple launcher restores one armor segment. This perk is incredible. Getting armor back off of every single grapnel is such a value machine. You get so many damn grapnels off of things like Inner Fire and even Combat Readiness that being able to cycle this over and over is incredible on its own. Just with the base grapnel, with all those perks in mind, on top of things like Tactical Prowess also triggering this effect, it is just a top tier option. Definitely grab this. Next perk here is Restoration, killing 7 enemies in a rapid succession restores an armor segment. The cooldown is 15 seconds. This perk is also incredible. It's just another source of armor regen, and armor regen in Space Marine 2 is a top tier effect because any amount of armor remaining in this game will reduce all incoming melee damage to 0 no matter what, even from bosses. So having armor drip fed to you is not only good for surviving, but also triggering perk effects like Conviction over and over and over. And that's pretty much all there is for this build, guys. The automatic bolt carbine is a top tier close range weapon on the Vanguard in my opinion. The only one I like more than this is probably the Melta Rifle, just because of all the ammo economy stuff it has on top of the instantaneous CHP regen. But this one is hard to go wrong with, and hopefully this build guide helped you. And if you like content like this, subscribe for more, and as always, take it easy. Thanks for watching. Bye. Hey guys, first regards from here, let's be talking about a heroic Instigator bolt carbine build for the Vanguard class in patch 11.0 Space Marine 2. Now, the heroic Instigator is by far the strongest Instigator bolt carbine in the game currently. This thing really fits the playstyle of Vanguard very well. It has an amazing performance at close to medium range, and that's really all you need for Vanguard in this game. And things like bolt carbine on the automatic variant have always been very strong for this reason. Melta Rifle, it really has a great synergy with his grapnel ability, and on top of that, they also made his diving kick scale with difficulty in its damage in patch 11.0, and they also changed the perk here, Tenacity, to now be after a ranged kill majority level or higher enemy, diving kick's damage increases by 130%. Cooldown is 15 seconds. When you have this perk active, you can one-shot a zoanthrope out of the air with your diving kick, so pretty great option there. That's what we'll be building around today. Now, for the Instigator tree, I do build it this way, starting off with Headhunter here into the perk Efficient Hunter. After reloading while having low ammo, headshots deal 35% more damage for 5 seconds. This perk is nice to have because you do get low on this weapon pretty often. The Vanguard doesn't have the best ammo economy in Space Marine 2. It's actually pretty mediocre, so this triggers more than you would actually like it to. That's just the way it is. Next perk here is Fast Reload, going down to the perk Divine Might for a 10% damage increase. Then we pick up Increased Capacity to help out with those aforementioned ammo reserve issues we have. Then we pick up the perk Great Might, move down here into the perk Home Precision, which is equipped weapons maximum spread, decreases by 50% when firing without aiming. This makes your hip fire pretty good. Now, you could skip over this and pick up the perk Rapid Health instead, but on this build, I am taking Adrenaline Rush, so a 5% restore on majority level higher for our HP here is what we'll be getting anyway, so kind of redundant to have this on top of that. So I grab this one instead. Instead, I move up here into Recoupment, killing a majority level higher enemy with a headshot with weapon restores an armor segment. Cooldown is 15 seconds. Now, getting armor back off a headshot kill in Space Marine 2 is very valuable. Having any type of damage reduction in this game is actually underrated, to be honest, and really all armor restore is in Space Marine 2 is free damage reduction, and also any amount of armor in the game will reduce any incoming melee hit to 0 damage even from bosses. So if a Karn effect is about to swing at you and you have like half an armor bar left, you'll take 0 damage, so great for that. And having like a drip feed of this is really good for perks like Conviction as well, because we can go back into our damage reduction on armor break over and over and over, so great for that. Now, the final perks I grab here are Tactical Precision for a headshot dealing 20% more damage and non-headshot damage decreasing by 10%, and Headhunter for 10% more damage on top of this. Now, I did test going down like the top row here for things like Inspired Aim or the perk here Death Strike. None of these actually boost up your damage in like a super meaningful way versus just picking up the perks here. This is like by far the best damage output you're going to get for like any of the perk tree options in my opinion. Like sometimes I think you can get like ever so slightly higher headshot damage with these perks active, but the perks you have to give up to actually reach these in the bottom of the row because of the way the perk tree is set up here does require you to give up so much base damage. It is just not worth it to me, so I just take it this way instead. And that's pretty much all there is for the Instigator. Now, for my secondary here, I do take the Heroic Heavy Bolt Pistols as Retribution's Bequest. This weapon is super underrated right now, in my opinion. The perk here, No Help Is Coming. Shooting an enemy with the Elite Stream status stops it from calling reinforcements, headshots kill in one shot. This is a really damn good perk effect at the moment. The fact that this weapon has a low ammo capacity and low magazine capacity has people thinking it's like completely dog shit right now, but the reason they tried to do this is that you actually save a lot of ammo on this gun because you do one shot the reinforcement calling enemies, and in absolute difficulty, reinforcement calling enemies will almost always go enraged after you shoot them like 5 times and break the reinforcement. So this perk is better than you actually think, really useful. You also stop the entire horde, which saves you even more ammo. Obviously, that is like a little dependent on like what kind of horde it would call in if it was like a melee or ranged enemy, but either way, that is why the ammo reserve is so low on this thing. And on top of that, it also buffed up the gun strike damage in patch 11.0 on this thing to be the highest in the entire game. So pretty good for that. Now for the perk tree, I would set it up this way, going down the bottom tree all the way for things like increased capacity down to Death Strike. And then move down here into the perk Able Damage. After using class ability, damage increases by 20% for 10 seconds. You are a Vanguard, so having this active pretty much happens all the time. And the final perks I grab are things for home precision and tactical precision for more headshot damage. That's pretty much all there is for the setup on this weapon. Now for the melee weapon selection, I do take the newly buffed Power Axe. The block Power Axe finally has access to power stance, and this thing hits like a truck. It is absurd how much damage you can actually do with this weapon now. It is by far an S tier weapon in my opinion. Maybe like slightly behind the block fist, but that's not really saying much. Still an incredible choice, and still overperforms all the time. Now, the perk tree setup I have here is going all the way down the bottom row for perks like Cleaver for 10% bonus damage against Majoris and higher. Things like Discharge for overhead strike, dealing additional area damage around the target with a 15-second cooldown. It actually counts as electric damage and basically doubles the damage of your overhead strikes. Pretty nice for that. And the perk up here is called Power Wave. Now, you can finally go from Tactical Retreat in this patch to Power Wave. They basically opened up the perk tree for like this little area here, and what Power Wave does is it makes your power backstep wave damage more enemies by actually increasing the angle of your power wave, which means you will be able to reach more enemies. You'll be able to do things like whack a zoanthrope out of the sky, which is pretty nice. Like, this feels really good, by far the best option in my opinion. Now you could skip this and like take the perk down here, Riposte, instead for doubling your overhead strike damage off a power backstep. This is also pretty decent, but I just prefer this one because Power Wave is like by far the selling feature of this weapon, and this just makes it far better on top of the 25% bonus damage down here. Now for the perk tree, I do take Upper Hand first for no knockback on parry, block, or dodge for 10 seconds. This simply saves your life and prevents you from getting knocked around all the time. Really powerful perk, pretty much a top tier option on any class this perk effect is on, and unfortunately in Space Marine 2, the descriptions are always wrong. This doesn't actually make you immune to heavy hits. Basically what it will do is that you'll get hit by a super heavy attack. The heavy attack that would normally knock you over will only stagger you, and the one that would normally stagger you will only knock you over, or won't knock you over at all, excuse me. So you'll basically just like be lowering the impact of a hit by like 1 tier. So not exactly like total immunity, but still very useful. Next perk here is Conviction. When your armor is fully depleted, you take 25% less health damage for 10 seconds. This just makes you very tanky. Top tier perk for sure, and by far the best in this column, in my opinion. Especially after the addition of Chaos Spawn, where close combat focus got a bit worse. 20% less range damage isn't that bad, because this will affect your armor, but Conviction is just better overall, in my opinion. And this perk doesn't really help you at all once you actually limit the parry timings. Next perk here is Consecutive Execution for 90-second Melta Bombs, Crack Grenades, Shock Grenades, and Frags. Guys, anything that breaks the pickup economy of Space Marine 2 is going to be a top tier perk, and anything that lets you get basically multiple bombs to wipe out hordes and extremis is going to be top tier for that reason. And consecutive execution is the same on pretty much every class, so great perk option for sure, but also home reactions is pretty good. Next perk here is Inner Fire. All of your squadrons can restore ability charged by 15% performing finishers on resource level or higher enemies. This perk is incredible. Getting CDR back off of any kill on a Majoris, because the description here is actually wrong. This will trigger on not only finishers, it will trigger on any kill of Majoris or higher. You will get the 15% CDR no matter what, so really powerful perk, far better than it might look initially. And now with the diving kick scaling on damage on the difficulty, basically, your diving kicks are more valuable than ever, so great option for sure. Next perk here is Shockwave. Diving kick additionally deals damage in a 5-meter radius. This one's just nice to have to wipe out Bramble and deal additional damage to enemies. This one was way better in the PTS because it doubled the damage of Tenacity here. So like you get the 130% bonus from this into the PTS server, and then the Shockwave additional 5-meter radius would do like double the damage of the Tenacity perk. It was totally overpowered, and now it only gets like the standard bonus, I believe. So a lot more balanced, but maybe a lot less fun. Next perk here is Tenacity. After a range kill of resource level or higher enemy, diving kicks damage increased by 130%. Cooldown is 15 seconds. This perk is really good. I primarily enjoy this for things like bodying a Terminator or a Zoanthrope. It will do significant damage. It was definitely better in the public test server because of that interaction with this perk, but it's still a top tier option in my opinion, and better than Tip of the Spear in this patch, and maybe a little bit behind Zone of Impact. We'll talk about this one day. Next perk here is Combat Readiness. Grapnel Launcher recharges 20% faster because more grapnels means more diving kicks. More diving kicks means more damage, and more diving kicks also means more armor with launch restoration, so great synergy there, so I like to pick this up. And the final perk is Adrenaline Rush for getting 5% HP back on a Majoris level or higher melee kill. This perk is nice. You can actually pick this up on this build. It's like one of the best parts of this build, in my opinion. You don't have to take this team perk. You can take the CDR and also get your healing and not really give up too much. The Zone of Impact usually requires tactical prowess like work and peak efficiency, so picking up this perk and also getting this option is really nice, which is why I like this one quite a bit. Now for the prestige perks here, I do take Battlefield Awareness first. If a target is within 8 meters, you do 10% more range damage. This perk has great synergy with the Heroic Instigator. This thing's close range damage is already amazing, and this extra bonus really helps out a ton. And to be honest, Battlefield Awareness is just good on like pretty much any Vanguard build ever, because being close range happens all the fucking time, because guess what you have on this class? You have a grapnel launcher, so kind of a no-brainer. Next perk here is Fortitude for a health increase of 15%. Then I pick up Launch Restoration, which is using the grapnel launcher restores an armor segment. This perk is absurdly good. Being able to go immediately back into a Carnifex and stuff like that and get an armor back instantaneously to keep you alive is so damn useful. And honestly, with like any grapnel build in the entire game currently, all of these armor effects trigger all the time, especially like all the CDR we have, so great synergy there. And the final perk I grab is Restoration. Killing 7 enemies and rapid succession restores an armor segment. Cooldown is 15 seconds. This perk effect is amazing on Heavy, and it's amazing here. This is literally the exact same perk that Heavy has over here. It's just plopped onto our Prestige perk tree, and guess what? It's godly here, it's godly on Vanguard. Armor Restore in Space Marine 2 is incredible, and this one's no different. That's pretty much all there is for the Prestige perk list and this build. Now, the Heroic Instigator Bolt Carbine is currently my favorite weapon on Vanguard. Melta Rifle is also very strong. The automatic Bolt Carbine here is also very powerful, but I just think this one hits like that Goldilocks zone of being really good at close and medium range, and medium range is like something this class can occasionally struggle with things like the Bolt Carbine and the Melta Rifle, and the Oculus is good for that, but this one's not super good at close range compared to these two options. But I do think this one is quite powerful at the moment, and a ton of fun to use. And the Heroic Heavy Bolt Pistol, guys, this one slept on, to be honest. Really fun gun. Pretty good perk effect too, so definitely try it out. If you like content like this, subscribe for more, and as always, take it easy. Hopefully this build guide helped. Here's some gameplay. Bye.
I got the boss is easier than the range ads.
That side boss buzzing out of my ears.
Look at all the termagants. Holy shit. Ain't this a toxic little escapade? Did the boss run itself off a ledge? Okay. I mean, okay, I guess. That's like the third time that's happened on this map. Why does it keep doing that? This thing fucking stupid, dude.
I was worried you had fallen victim to Metrian's mastery of malphonic disruptive frequencies, but now the uncomfortable sensation associated with relief cools my remaining skin. Be warned, Viridian. Metrian cannot hope to stand against you alone.
It committed the forever nap pretty much from the looks of it. Grab this, while play Broski, quit showing off your soul shenanigans. I mean, I need to do these builds currently. So I need all the heroics unlocked. Let's go and Melta Bomb. I'm pretty sure I have this one.
The facility will be infested in moments.
Strategies. The facility is well stocked in mining gear. Requisition Melta charges to eradicate the tunnels and halt the infestation.
Search high and low, brothers.
We need Meltas.
Seek instruments of holy immolation.
Anything done? So far, so good.
Keep searching for Melta charges, brothers.
A fine instrument of destruction in my hands.
Burn the flesh from the sea.
No beast shall crawl from that crevasse. Forth! We dare not be late to apprehend this nutrient.
Favorite Vanguard build so far? Probably this one. Probably the diving kick ones with the Instigator. There we go. On to the final boss. We're gonna do a fuck ton of damage to this boss, I'm realizing when we get there. Disgusting amounts. My go-to combo lately has been heroic heavy bolt pistol with a heavy block axe or a chain sword. That's pretty good. Definitely not a bad option.
Old friend of mine. If you missed our binaric discourses, you could have sent communication. I observe you still pathetically cling to views of soft tissue. Remember, meat lacks efficiency, whereas metallic alloys stave off corrosion and degradation for far longer.
How far you have fallen, and I must drag you back into the light.
All poke and no brains. Reloading.
Select preferred method of execution. Decapitation.
Oh, this thing's damn good.
Arc available.
See, that torch looks pretty cool now, doesn't it? In the middle of killing everything. Yeah, we're inside and it's cold. Out in the desert, it feels a little warm, you know?
Behold the truth of my faults. I am but a humble brain, patched into a mining facility.
This Tenacity perk now showing up. Is it bugged? I mean, it's not bugged. It just doesn't show up a lot. It doesn't have like an icon, I believe. Pretty lame, that's the way it is, but...
Disconnect her synaptic tethers from the facility command terminals. Stand firm. I expect her to route Xenos to assault your locus.
Secure that console uplink.
Disconnect, disconnect. No, now's my moment. You fucks. The whole reason brought the weapon.
One down. Millions to go. I am within the field.
Red Light, if you're still here, we'll do community ops after. I just gotta get a few things on here. Oh shit. Get fucked.
Hold this territory. All we need to rekindle the light of the power cell from the generator.
I would very much like to grapple that guy. Can I do it from here?
I beseech you, Galio. Bear witness to the summation of our divine arithmetic from long ago. Remember Project Zeta 6.
As my theorems predicted,
Thank you,
your
game.
light vector has converged with renegade factors and Zeta 6.
Where
The
is
waste
the
of
thing?
computational resources
Over
and
here?
One perfectly good Grox. Surrender now, and perhaps leniency can be granted. After the mind grows, of course.
You are a redundant functionary. Your Astarte shall die here, alone, in the dark. Futile, impotent waste of gene seed. You trifle with the only hope against the hive mind the Imperium has left.
Closing the gap. What needs grappling? Swapping out that. Stay dead. My God. I am within the field.
That's always satisfying. That will never not be satisfying.
Magazine in. We darken this console, brothers.
Return to Metrian's containment unit. See, Metrian, the more you thrash, the deeper you set our hopes.
Right to the regen. This map's a bit rough at the moment. We actually get fewer sims if we take the regen.
Reloading. Check your
But I didn't know it was a mechanic. Well, if you're higher HP, you're less likely to get a stim per box. They retrieve the brain.
These tender thoughts of Astartes' flesh have accomplished
We'll keep this.
my imagination was already achieving my designs. You are fools, peasants. Silence! Meridian, confirm possession of her quivering mass of computational grey matter.
Grab that.
Magos
Have this.
biologist is in Viridian's possession.
Pilot, Viridian is ready for evacuation. Sending updated extraction.
I tried a new heroic bolt sniper against chaos. Bad idea. Yeah, all bolt snipers suffer versus chaos in this game. Pretty bad. It is pretty egregious.
Thermal payload. What is the holdup?
What is the holdup?
Finished and ready.
Yeah, one side of those guys will never not be fun. That saves you a lot of time in your mission. A lot of time in your mission saves you an entire wave. I think that's your idea behind making the ammo reserves low, is that you're getting fewer waves, you have to shoot them, so technically you're saving ammo on that. How much that actually comes out to depends on the wave. Like if it's a melee wave, you're not going to save that much, regardless, but... That Tech Marine got revealed? Yes, it did. Certainly did. Oh yeah, my third favorite streamer is streaming. Who's number one? Josh in between, Orion?
Swapping out magazine.
You're a Josh fan.
Stay there, running. The Emperor sees. Melta bomb ready. Walkabilly. One down.
I do want to kill these for fun.
Finish and ready.
Hey, look at that. What up, FTG? Played the block power sword a run a bit ago. It's still good, but it's just not the block axe. The struggle is real. Block power sword, I still think that's an A tier weapon. You know, we'll tier list some melee weapons after this because those are pretty easily tier listed, I think, at this point. I think block axe is just very good at the moment. Dude, can these guys just stop going for the, I fucking hate when they go for the boss. Thank you. Aim. Feels good. There we go.
Smells like fresh munitions.
I'm in. I was in tech reveal recently officially by Saber. You look at their official announcement for it. They even showed it.
I cannot land without borrowing a foundation lighting about. Deep scans have penetrated the atmospheric disturbances.
I also have a video on it if you're curious. Patch notes. Is there a video? No, they only showed screenshots so far. And they explained the perks. Let's grab this. God, that damage is insane. That worked. Wow, you really put that in that time. Wow, thank you. Thank you for coming up out of the ground on top of me. Very appreciated. This is why I fucking hate the Trigon. He just digs constantly. You're sitting there waiting for him. And like half the time your damage doesn't even come from your combos on all these weapons. Or at least weapons like this, you really want the power stance and stuff like that, so you don't even get the added benefit of being able to knock him down and getting your full power. And like a combo on the ground. So much damage.
My congratulations, Viridian. The mission was a success, despite the odds. I trust this Metrian is no longer a friend of yours, Magos. Ignore.
There we go. Perfect, perfect. Instigator Carbine build. It's pretty damn strong.